Hello, my name is Vicky and I'm from Victoria and I'm an alcoholic. And I'd like to share my story, my journey in alcoholism. I feel like I was born an alcoholic. I was born to a mother who had nicotine and alcohol was her main substance. And when I was in utero, that's what I was fed most of the time. I was born very preemie, just a few pounds, but I survived. And grew up in a dysfunctional home. I didn't know it was dysfunctional. I just thought it was an ordinary home. But I had a drunk mother and an angry father. And I was a street kid. I didn't have that mother that would offer me a snack when I got home from school or... that loving words and things like that. Mum always seemed to be on the bed. The neighbourhood looked after me. My neighbours bathed me and fed me and, I survived. I think they call it resilience. I grew up with resilience. So I'm an adult child of an alcoholic today. I have isms. I have... control issues. I want everything to be just right and just so. And I also have detachment issues too. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't like to be alone. I like to be in the middle of a lot of people or a lot of action. I love drama. I love things to be always exciting and keep moving and lots of things. Teenage years, I played a lot of sport, went to work, didn't have many boyfriends or anything like that. I was too busy for that. But, I was married at an early age and I had my first child at 26. But because I didn't have that love, the example, I suppose. I kept my kids clean, I kept my house clean and they were well fed, but I lacked that emotional connection with my kids. So, they tell me today that was a bit tough. They, thank goodness, don't mother and father their children like that. I had 7 children because I thought, I will have lots of kids and they'll love me and my life will be perfect. But, that's my dysfunctional brain. It was tough there for a long time. One income, looking after the children and not enough money. But, we survived. We bought a farm, we bought a block of land and I became a farmer's wife and milked cows and grew vegetables and was the earth mother. Thought I was doing okay on the outside, but on the inside I was dying. My children grew up and they didn't need me so much, so I went out and got a job at the age of about 40. And that brought in money and I could socialise a little bit. And with that socialising came going out to dinner and having visitors over for the dinner party, and alcohol was introduced. In the early days, there was never any alcohol in the house because there was no room in the fridge. It was if it wasn't nutritionally of any value, then it wasn't in the fridge. Anyway, times changed, money circumstances changed, and I could afford it. It didn't. I wouldn't say it evolved my. I don't think it took over my life straight away. It took a few years, and it was just mainly social, and it wasn't all the time, just occasionally. About 15 years down the track, about the age of 55, I don't know what happened, but things just went to custard. And then I started drinking daily. And I still felt that irritable and discontent, and I needed something because I didn't have the children to bury myself into. I didn't have to work so hard in the home anymore. And so I needed something to settle those nerves, to settle that brain, the spaghetti head. I call it the committee now. So life got a bit tedious. The husband was working away for months and months overseas, and I was home alone, and feeling a bit depressed, a bit lonely, and so I turned to the bottle. And it became a daily thing. I didn't have to hide it because nobody was home to see me. It just used to be a flagon. I used to buy the grog in the flagon, a flagon of cream sherry, and it would put me to sleep at night. I'd take it to bed with me, and I'd even have a glass on the side table instead of water, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and have a drink. And then down the track it became a day, I'd be drinking as soon as I got up in the morning to get to work. And I don't know how I did it really. I don't know how I drank so much and went to work and did my other things the sport and things that I used to do. I used to hang with people that drank because it didn't make me look so bad then. Anyway, I have a child that's got an addiction, and she ended up trying to commit suicide and ended up in a rehab. And through that rehab, I found the meetings book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't know, I just put it in my bag. I picked it up for some reason. And we had a family get-together for a cup week. And the children all arrived. Oh, I forgot to tell you the story about leaving home. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I left home and moved to the beach. And I was there for, a good 12 months. And then the children would come and visit, have a holiday at the beach. Yeah. Anyway, this particular weekend they came, and they all arrived Friday and Saturday, and it was a lot of laughter and merriment and all that. And anyway, I woke up Sunday night and nobody was there. They'd all gone home, and I couldn't work out what had happened. It turned out that I'd drunk so much that I blacked out, and they didn't like it, so they all left. That following Monday, I found my first AA meeting, and it was at Bairnsdale, and I walked in there, and it was a room full of men, and there were no other women there, but, I was desperate. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was so lonely, and, I just felt so alone, So I went to my first meeting, and they said, Vicky, you've got to do 90 meetings in 90 days. Wow. I lived a bit isolated. I had that disease of isolation, which you have when you have this disease of alcoholism. And anyway, I did it. I had an old bomb car, and I'd get up in the morning and I'd find a meeting and I'd go. It might have to travel 100 k's. But they said to me, you go to any lengths. I went to any lengths to get a drink. I'll go to any lengths to get sober. I had what we call the electric fleas, so I was itchy all over and I couldn't sleep. I'd get home from a meeting at 10 o'clock at night and I couldn't sleep, and I'd be walking around, and I thought, what am I going to do? This is driving me mad. So somebody suggested that I dig a hole, and I thought, I can't be bothered digging a hole. But then I thought, well, I live on a block of sand. I think I'll plant grass. So every time I went to a meeting, I would pull couch grass out of fences and off nature strips, and I'd weed your garden in the middle of the night and fill up my boot with couch grass, and I'd come home and I had a bit of a dibble stick and I'd put my head torch on and I would plant grass till the sun came up, and then I'd fall asleep. Yeah, and that went on for a good 6 months, Yeah, it took me a long time to settle down. Well, 6 months isn't that long, really, when you think I drank for over 20 years. Anyway, that grass has grown now. That was 10 years ago. That grass has grown, and it's lush and green and spongy and very healthy. And I look at it, I sit on my veranda and I look at it and I think, that's my serenity grass. You know, there's a little patch over there that needs some attention. There's a bit of dead, see a bit of sand coming through. That needs a bit of fertiliser, needs some water. Yeah. So it reminds me of my sobriety, how I've recovered. And there are patches. I've still got to do meetings. That I don't think that'll ever stop. And I don't want it to stop because these are my tribe. These are people that understand me today. They laugh at my stories of what I used to be so embarrassed about. But to an alcoholic, it's quite normal. I'm a bit lost now.
You do much travelling?
Oh, yes. Well, that gave me the gift. Thanks, Den. That gave me the gift of travelling. When I got into Alcoholics Anonymous, I was 7 months sober, and one of the other members said to me, there's a tag-along going to Lightning Ridge. And I thought, well, what's that? And they said, you get in a car and you drive to a big meeting. It's out in the bush. And I went, oh, that sounds all right. Fill in the time. And it's in the middle of AA, so it's safe. And so my girlfriend and I, we went off, and we were only supposed to be gone for 3.5 weeks, and we were gone for 3 months. We got all the way up to Darwin. We couldn't believe where the time had gone. And it was called a tag-along. And it's where a group of alcoholics and their families, we camp along the road. We do PI meetings at little towns. We visit members, solo members that are just the one person in one town and they wouldn't see another member for months and months on end. And we'd call in and we'd have a campfire and a meeting and a chat. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. And on these tag-alongs, we meet new people. We meet people from all over Australia, members that have heard about this new way of being sober. Yeah, we're a happy, joyous lot. Yeah, I didn't stop drinking to be miserable. I was miserable with the drink. I didn't want to be miserable. Anyway, that was, I've been on about 9-10 tag-alongs now. And I'm recording this on the side of the road, a bush camp, and we're on our way to Perth to the National Convention. Yeah, it's a great life today. But it hasn't been easy. There's step work to do. There's 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I have a sponsor who I'm in regular contact with. And, we talk often and we do step work together. She helps me through the big book. And, we study it, I suppose. We study it. And then I have homework to do. We have, there's a bit of writing to do, a bit of journaling. And it's lovely to look back in my journals and see how I've changed, how my attitude has changed. How I've gone from resentful and angry and depressed and blaming everybody to being happy, joyous and free. Yeah, where I know today that there's only 3 people that ever caused me a problem, and that's me, myself and I. It was all to do with my attitude. All to do with my attitude. Anyway, I'm very, very, I'm free. I have a new freedom today. Not an old life. Polished up, but a brand new life. Yeah, thank you very much.
How did you go on about the spiritual side of the program?
Oh, to find that higher power. That was God. I've had a higher power, which I call God, in my life. Ever since I was little, to survive the way that I did. And when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, they showed me a way to connect with my higher power. So we do prayer. I do prayer and meditation today. I have a conscious contact, and a lot of my problems I try to sort out myself. It's called willfulness, but today I can pass my will over to God, and it's all taken care of. You know, I don't have to be the conductor anymore. Life is so much easier when I'm not in control. Yep. Okay. So I think I've run out of I've run out of words.
Do you think of a drink today?
Do I?
Ever think of a drink today?
No, I haven't thought of a drink today. I've been relieved of that compulsion and that need to have a drink, because I know today that's not going to cure my problems. You know, if I did pick up a drink, I know I'd be back where I was straight away. They say it's progressive. Yeah. So.
And the program's the date it's on.
Yeah, and that's right. You can only have to do this for 24 hours a day, and for 8 or 9 hours of those days I'm asleep. So it's a lot easier to do today, because I'm not trying to live in tomorrow, and I forgiven myself for all my misdemeanours of yesterday. My bad behaviour, my deceitfulness, the things that you used to do so that you could get a drink, the lies that I used to tell and say, you know, I didn't do it, but I really did. Pinching money from my husband. And pinching time too. You know, how much time did I rob because I was passed out or out socialising instead of being home and being a mum? Yeah, sometimes I would lie and say I was going to work, but I wasn't really. I was meeting up with people to drink. Yeah. And hiding it too, that was another thing. I didn't have to hide it at first because nobody was about, but then after a while, because I was doing it 24/7, you had to put it in places where people wouldn't find it, like in the bottom of the wardrobe. And what do you do with an empty flagon, you know? Like, I don't know. I know 5 flagons fit in a milk crate, and I used to stack them in the back of the shed. I'd wash them, make them all nice, take the label off. And when I stopped drinking, I had like hundreds of flagons, all shiny and new. Anyway, I gave them to a fellow that made wine, and he was very happy. He was very happy to receive all these empty, clean flagons. Yeah. No, amazing.
Very good, Vic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Den.